Good morning, it's game day and this is Game Day U, Oklahoma's only weekly football pregame show live on TV. I'm your host, Kaylee Jo Hommel, and I'm joined by Emily LeBeth, Aiden Tyler, and Britton Ross. And OU football is back home across the street from us today, but first we're going to take a look at their last time out in Oxford, Mississippi. And even Juice Kiffin is ready for these Sooners. We're going to start in the first quarter. Ole Miss is already up 7. Jackson Arnold finds Bauer Sharp in the end zone. He passes for 11 yards and ties the score. But that's not the only OU touchdown of the day. Right here, he's at the 15. He goes to the 10. He's now at the 5. And this random squirrel rushes into the Oklahoma end zone. Okay, well, this one doesn't count. But let me show you one that does. Arnold uses his arm again and this time finds Jacob Jordan for 9 yards. This time, OU goes into halftime up 14-10. But in the second half, Ole Miss really brings the boom. Jackson Dart, he throws one into the end zone and the Rebels get another rushing touchdown. Afterwards, OU doesn't score once in this half with the final score on the board, 26-14 Ole Miss. Now, 7 of the total sacks allowed happened in the fourth quarter. After Jacob Sexton left the game injured in the second, any sort of improvements on the O-line seemed to disappear.
And any sort of improvements seemed to disappear in the third quarter period. The Sooners were moving the ball well in the first half, converting 7 of 9 third downs, but only converted 1 of 7 in the second half. And those sacks that you mentioned killed the Sooners' momentum and chances at driving downfield late in the game.
Yeah, and the Sooners secondary got torched on Saturday. Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart averaged 14 yards per completion and reached to a 311-yard performance. Lane Kiffin's offensive mind showed out and exploited the masterful Venables defense.
Well, you're right, Aiden. They did get torched by Jackson Dart, but the run defense played pretty well. Only 69 rushing yards allowed by OU, 2.2 yards per carry, and they had 8 total tackles for loss on Saturday as well.
Jackson Arnold was back as starting quarterback and finished 22 of 31 for 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And when asked about whether or not he thought Arnold would stay for the next season, Brent Venables had this to say.
You're dang right he wants to be back. Why would he not? You know, that's how I look at it. I don't have my head in the sand. I would be concerned if I was thinking in that way. Oh, I wonder if he wants to be back. Well, you'd start quarterback at Oklahoma. That's your dream, you know. You turn down a lot of good people to come here, and now you face some headwinds, and now you're just going to quit. I don't see that in him, and I don't see that in guys in our locker room. If the storms are a reason why guys want to leave, then I'm all for it. I'll help them pack their bags.
Some passionate words from Venables there. Arnold finally got some help on the rushing end. Ole Miss was the first time the OU running backs combined for over 100 rushing yards since the Friday Night Lights. Yes, that's game 1 against Temple, but the Sooners expected this performance.
We knew what we had in us. I mean, I wouldn't say it surprised us. It's just we've been waiting on that moment to where it clicks, and it clicked in that first half. And we knew what we can do. We see it in practice every day. The defense sees it. We see it. Coaches see it, players see it. So we never thought we couldn't do it. It's just a matter of doing it in the game.
October sure was scary for the Sooners. The offense averaged 8.6 points per game in the month, but the first half against Ole Miss did show some promise. Wide receiver J.J. Hester says Jackson Arnold has a new set of confidence that the Sooners need.
The touchdown right before half, he was doing some type of celebration or emo, and I definitely felt, I was like, oh yeah, that's Jackson Arnold right there. So, you know, I'm happy he's getting that feeling back, and, you know, just going to build off of it. Jackson definitely has that swagger back. I'm glad to see him balling, and you can see it on the field. His, what the kids say, aura. He got a lot of aura going around.
The defensive line was able to make a little bit of noise against the Rebels, 8 tackles for loss and a sack, but they also held Ole Miss to 5 for 13 on third downs and 0 for 2 on fourth down. And R. Mason Thomas feels like the defense is in a pretty good spot right now.
We were just shooting ourselves in the foot sometimes, you know, just getting the call or anything like that. You know, we were looking over it, and today we could be better on all aspects, but at first thoughts of we're getting the call and getting lined up. I think we had struggles from time to time to do that on all those touchdown drive. But other than that, after cleaning that up, I think we were overall kind of good.
Rain is in the forecast for the Maine game, and all week, one group has been getting Owen Field ready. Our Abby Williams is live with more on what it really takes.
Hey Kaylee Jo, every home game the OU grounds crew works to prep Owen Field for every game. Stick with us to see just how long it takes and what that process is really like.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
When we have the food we need, we are at our best. We push further. We rise higher. We unlock our full potential. When we have the food we need, we make our communities stronger. Together, we can help everyone get the food they need to thrive. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here are some water conservation tips you can try. In the kitchen, collect the excess water you use to rinse produce and use it to water houseplants. Also, soak your pots and pans instead of letting the water run while you scrape them. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
I love to paint, but what about when your canvas is a football field? Gameday U reporter Abby Williams is live with more on a team behind the team preparing for game day.
Well, Kaylee Jo, this project certainly takes a little longer than your average painting. Check it out behind me. 7 different Heisman winners have all taken the field here. But no matter the score every game, it's the process that remains unbeaten. I talked to the OU grounds crew about what it's like preparing Owen Field for a home game.
When fans enter the stadium every Saturday, they see a fresh field, perfectly painted, and grass cut with precision. But it doesn't happen overnight.
We start on Monday where we put out stencils where we lay out all of our logos, and then we go through and dot them. And then on Tuesday we do all the white paint. Wednesday we do all the red paints. Repeat. Thursday do white and Friday do red, on top of painting practice fields for practice and taking care of all the other facilities.
Tanner Miller started on the grounds crew as a student, and now he leads the operation as OU's Director of Athletic Grounds.
I think it goes beyond just the grounds crew. It's all sorts of internal operations people. Like we're here really early, we're here really late. It takes a lot of effort from a bunch of different departments to make this happen. And I think people don't recognize how many extra hours are put into it besides just that Saturday.
But to Miller, it's not about the product as much as the process.
The main goal is to have a safe environment for our student athletes to play. You know, we want it to be safe, we want it to be in regulation, and by God, if we can make it look good at the same time, we want to make it look good. But I think putting out a product that the university can be proud of and that we're proud of, and knowing that that place is safe and it's going to play just perfectly, that's the favorite part about it.
So when fans see the vibrant red end zones and beautifully painted yard lines every game day, know it takes a team to make it happen.
And in about 2 hours, Sooner fans can see that finished product when OU and Maine kick off at 11. Reporting from outside Memorial Stadium, Abby Williams, Gameday U.
Thanks, Abby. We talk a lot of college football, but what about the boys soon to suit up in the Crimson and Cream? Gameday U reporter Andrew West caught up with 3 high schoolers who you'll soon see on Owen Field.
Carl, home of the reigning 2-time state champions and 3 future Sooners, Trenae Washington, Marcus James, and Tristan Haynes, a trio with a bond stronger than a Titan.
My relationship with them is really good. You know, I've known Trinae since we were little kids. You know, we went to the same elementary school. And then Marcus transferring over from Bishop, you know, we've really grown a good bond, you know, going to games at OU and stuff like that.
The three won't be alone in Norman as they meet up with two former teammates, a unique scenario valuable to Marcus James.
Going in campus, going in my freshman year, knowing people I've already played football with and grew up with will definitely already give me that connection and a sense of comfort since I've already played with them and built that relationship so we can just further our relationship.
If being friends and teammates isn't enough to show their strong bond, they still all have one trait in common that you just can't teach: OU DNA.
They always talk about Texas and Florida schools and stuff like that, and I just feel like being from Oklahoma, I really want to represent Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they recruited a lot of Oklahoma kids this year, so I feel like just having a lot of Oklahoma kids going out and competing against other states, I think it's going to be good for us.
It's not very often OU gets 3 players from the same high school in the same recruiting class. While these guys are excited to do that for the Sooners, it doesn't eliminate the task at hand: winning a 3rd straight state championship for Carl Albert.
It shows the work the coaches put in as well, and to look back on it, it's just been good memories back. That feeling of winning that gold ball, that's the standard here. There's state championships everywhere.
A 3rd straight state title would be the 8th in the last 9 years for the Titans. Reporting from Carl Albert High School, Andrew West, Gameday U.
Thanks, Andrew. OU is back home looking to prove there really is no place like home. When we return, we'll take a look at OU's next opponent looking to try their claws at making history.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here is a water conservation tip you can try. In the bathroom, if your shower can fill a 1-gallon bucket in less than 20 seconds, replace the shower head with a water-efficient one. They are cheap, easy to install, and can save you up to 750 gallons a month. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here is a water conservation tip you can try. In the bathroom, turn off the water while you brush your teeth. You'll save about 4 gallons per minute. That comes out to about 200 gallons a week for a family of 4. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
The question on just about every Sooner fan's mind, will OU go bowling? And no, not pinstrikes or lanes. OU has the 2nd longest active streak of bowl appearances at 25, behind Georgia at 27. Gameday U reporter Cam Williams is live and has more on keeping that streak alive.
The last time the Sooners missed a bowl game was in 1998. John Blake was the coach, and OU had 4 different starting quarterbacks throughout that time. But head coach Brent Venables and leaders on both sides of the ball are optimistic about this year's chances to make a bowl game.
At the end of the day, for me, I want guys that want to be here because they want to put on the crimson and cream. They love their coaches. They love the locker room. They love being an Oklahoma Sooner. That's where it all starts with me. And I believe the guys in our locker room, that they love, meeting that criteria.
It's actually pretty important because win this, one more closer to getting a bowl game. So I know that's huge because we've been on a bowl streak for a long time, and so we're not trying to look forward, but we know we have to win to make a bowl.
Big opportunity, big chance to get momentum for this next stretch, this next run, and so we got to come out here and capitalize on it. Nobody has quit on anybody. Nobody has came in and just not decided to just show up that day. And so I really feel like that shows like our resilience, our fight as a team.
The Sooners sit at 4-4 ahead of today's matchup against Maine and need 2 more wins to capture a bowl game. Reporting from Memorial Stadium, Cam Williams, Gameday U.
Thanks, Cam. When it comes to games against New England teams, the Sooners have played 3 and won 3. OU faces another this weekend in 4-4 Maine.
And with that record, Kaylee Jo, that Sooner O-line can't expect an easy game from the Black Bears. They average 2.5 sacks a game, which is 27th in the FCS. And to put that in perspective, if they were ranked in the FBS, they would be tied with Texas at 31.
Yeah, well, Maine ranks 109th out of the 123 FCS teams when it comes to allowing third down conversions. They give up 47% of third downs, but OU's offense is only able to convert 30% of the time. So that battle on third down is going to be very fun to watch.
Well, yeah, those defensive third downs will be critical for the Black Bears to keep OU off the field. Maine scores just over 24 points per game. They haven't played an FBS team this year, but that is more than what the Sooners average, who only score 21 points a game.
Well, over in the rest of the conference, Oklahoma's last opponent is traveling one state to the west to take on Arkansas. Number 19, Ole Miss is favored, but in all 4 games between Lane Kiffin and Sam Pittman, the home team has won.
And I'm looking at the top team in the SEC. Texas A&M takes on South Carolina, and they've already made a name for themselves right at home. In the spirit of the election, the Aggies hosted midnight yell practice at the South Carolina State House last night, and they're looking to stay undefeated in the conference.
Now let's have a little bit of fun. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party is in Jacksonville, Florida at 2:30 today. Florida versus Georgia. Heated rivalry game. The Dogs have now taken it 3 years in a row, but a win for the Gators would put them 1 away from bowl eligibility.
Well, I'm going over to good old Rocky Top. Tennessee hosts Kentucky tonight, coming off their big upset win over Alabama. And honestly, they should be giving 3 touchdowns before the game even starts for wearing those sick black and orange uniforms on Halloween weekend.
We're going to take it back to the game across the street, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at who and what to watch for with the Black Bears in town.
People couldn't see my potential, so I had to show them.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
Today, I'm the CEO of my own company.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Why are we not rethinking this?
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
When it comes to what to watch for as Oklahoma takes on this FCS team that hasn't played an FBS team all year, I'll be looking for Joe John Finley's play calling. The Sooners said, no Luttrell, well, no problem against Ole Miss. OU scored the same amount of points on Saturday as they had in the previous 2 games. Added together, the Sooners started the game with 2 drives of more than 60 yards with 235 offensive yards in just the first half. This was more than the last 2 games combined. But the improvements don't end there. When it comes to those first 2 quarters, Oklahoma averaged about 4 yards a carry with 125 rushing yards. Sooner fans felt spoiled with this offense they saw with Finley on the headset. And they should see this again against Maine, but for all 4 quarters.
Yeah, Kaylee Jo, the Sooners did start out hot, but so did Ole Miss. The OU defense allowed the Rebels to score a touchdown on their opening drive of the first half and in the first 2 drives of the second half. In those 3 drives alone, they allowed 5 chunk plays of 20 or more yards. The secondary struggled to defend Jackson Dart's arm, giving up over 300 yards and busting coverage left and right. And Ole Miss was without their top receiver. It was a big step back for the Sooner defense. While Maine should be an easier opponent, they only have tougher offenses remaining on their schedule.
Emily, let's talk about the offensive line. They gave up not 1, not 2, but 10 sacks against Ole Miss. That broke the school record for sacks allowed in a game, and it was set against South Carolina just the week before. 6 of those sacks came on the last 11 plays of the game. Here's another fun fact. Not a single one of them came on a blitz. The Sooners have now given up 30 sacks on the season, the most in the country by far. And today's game is the only one the Sooners are favored in the rest of the season. They need the O-line to figure it out with a very tough final stretch of the season.
Well, Aiden, I know the offensive line and the quarterback play has been shaky at best for most of the season, but some of these receivers need to step up in bigger ways than we've been seeing. Tight end Bauer Sharp is now this team's leading receiver thanks to his 53 yards in Oxford last week. But the next best receiver after that is still Deion Burks, who hasn't played since September 21st against Tennessee. And not to mention, Burks also has the most receiving touchdowns on this team with 3 this year, and those all came against Temple in week 1.
Well, when we come back, we'll have some new faces sitting at the desk, and they'll make their picks for some of this Saturday's hottest matchups.
Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping. Got a few minutes? You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing to keep us focused. A habit we never skip, to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mental health. Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
Welcome back, and say welcome to these new analysts on the set. I'm now joined by Landon Thomas, Chris Holman, and Elle Gedman, and they're ready to make their picks for some of the nation's hottest games. It's a top 5 matchup with all eyes on Happy Valley today, even college game days. Landon, when it means the most, who will come out on top in the Big Ten, Ohio State or Penn State?
Kaylee Jo, picture this. Ohio State has the ball deep into the fourth quarter. And the second most efficient quarterback in football, Will Howard, puts up the ball, and it's a touchdown for the Buckeyes. They escape with the win in a major game.
Happy Valley is going to look more like Sad Valley once Jeremiah Smith comes to town. The Buckeyes' electric freshman wide receiver leads the team in receiving yards and touchdowns. I believe his performance today will give Penn State their first loss of the season.
Landon, Chris, I'm going to have to disagree. Will Howard and Drew Aller have almost identical stats, both being ranked top 10 quarterbacks. Energy is always high at Happy Valley, and Penn State is undefeated for a reason. Plus, what even is a Buckeye? Give me the Nittany Lions.
Well, Louisville has never beat Clemson, and they faced each other 8 times. And the Tigers are perfect in ACC play, with their only loss of the season against Georgia. Landon, do the Cardinals even stand a chance?
Kaylee Jo, some win streaks are meant to end, but definitely not this one. Clemson is ranked 5th in total offense, and Louisville doesn't even crack the top 50 in total defense. Those Cardinals as good as catnip for the Tigers. All in on Clemson this weekend, guys.
In the 8 times that these two teams have played each other, half of them have been decided by at least 2 scores. And with Cade Klubnik at the helm of the 4th best scoring offense in the nation, I see the Tigers winning this one handily.
Chris, although you may be right about Clemson, Louisville isn't far behind with a top 15 ranked offense. Tyler Shuck is ranked 9th in passing yards, plus he's got Ja'Cory Brooks to throw to. And hey, I love an underdog story. Give me the first ever Cardinal win against the Tigers in a close one.
And still in the ACC, it's a top 20 matchup with Pitt and Dallas. Landon, can the Mustangs outride the Panthers?
I don't know, Kaylee Jo. The car brand Mustang has a poor life expectancy, and so does that football team. Pitt is currently averaging the 6th most points in college football, and quarterback Eli Holstein is going to lead to another Cat win on the day.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one, Landon. In the 6 times that these teams have played, SMU leads the series 3-2 with 1 tie. However, the last time that Pitt beat SMU was in 1942. My grandparents were just a year old. I think SMU keeps it that way and wins it in a close one.
SMU has shown out during their first season in the ACC. These ponies are going to have a fire lit under their stampede because this win would up their playoff chances by 10%. SMU puts a pit in the Panthers' stomach at home. I'm riding with the ponies.
Alrighty, and OU Maine, what are we thinking, guys?
Give me the Sooners on this one.
Bad news, Black Bears, Sooners by 30.
Well, thanks so much for watching Game Day U. For Landon Thomas, Chris Holman, and Elle Gedman, I'm Kaylee Jo Hommel. We'll be back next week where we'll be on the road with the Sooners in Columbia, Missouri. Have a fun.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.